keep realizing you keep referring to Howard, right? And I know because I introduced you as Dr. Garfield. Uh, did you finish school at that time? Like, because you got a
No,
record
I
deal,
didn't.
or did you?
When we got
Yeah,
our record deal, I had one class left to go at Howard. I had a I think an expository writing class, and I think a gym class that I had been avoiding left. So when we got our deal, I hadn't graduated, but Mark had graduated, and I think maybe Carl too, but me and Darnell didn't. But so when the group was out for a while, I went back to school. We were living in L.A., so I went to Cal State Northridge to go back to school. But by that time, like 20, 15 years later, the requirements for my major had increased by like something like 20 more units. So I had to take maybe like 4 more semesters worth of classes just to finish that undergrad, which I did. I got a 4.0, got my undergrad finished, and I jumped 2 years later, went into the master's degree program at Georgia State for African American Studies. I got a fellowship. They paid my way. I won the award for my master's thesis, the Asa Hilliard Award. And then I went and I made it into the PhD program at Georgia State for the Educational Policy Studies program, and ended up getting a top award-winning dissertation for that one I was just telling you about, called Soul in the Can. That's the name of it. And it was just like I just did that to just max out to see how far I could take it. I've always been curious about knowledge, and I just wanted to see how far I could go. And I wasn't really concerned about being a professor under that structure. I saw enough to know that I don't like that style of hierarchy over me, like in that kind of realm. I didn't want to be answering to no dean who's putting pressure on you to get a grant just to pay your own salary. Like, nah, money, that's not gonna work. And then you're not gonna give me my proper supports that I need to run my programs. It's gonna reflect badly. Like, I didn't need all of that. So I got my PhD not to be that. I got my PhD for the legacy of my family and for me to see how far I can reach to get and what I could accomplish, and then to be used in posterity as somebody that might inspire somebody else that's in the music game that knows that they don't got to do an either or scenario. That if they smart in their own mind and they musically inclined, they can do both and instead of either or. So I just want to represent that both kind of paradigm. You ain't got to choose. Your parents, somebody making you choose. Nah, do all that, man. You know what I mean? I did it. I really did it at a high clip. Platinum as an artist, and a PhD. Like, that's as high as you can. So you could do it. And I'm still me unapologetically. But I have the gray matter to trust me. Don't challenge me. You'll see. But I don't have to carry myself like that corporate white model, like that thing of what people, I earned my stripes. I got awards, but I'm still Garfield. And it just proves to me that I've always been the same dude. So I didn't even need that to validate this guy. So that lets you know that this guy out there, a lot of the guys that'll look like me, that'll talk and walk like me, could be that PhD too, looking like that. It's here. It ain't this necessarily. So, I always used to love the fact that like Russell Simmons and people like that, when I would see him on Def Comedy Jam, as much money as I knew he had and all that, he was always rock the Fat Farm sweatsuit though. You know what I'm saying? But he was Russell Simmons with the Black American Express card in them commercials and all that. You know what I mean? But he was rocking the sweatsuit. He didn't have to wear the 3-piece suit just to show that he was the CEO of a company. But he could have flexed it if he felt like it. You know what I mean? But that ain't made, So I looked at that. And I was like, I'm gonna do that with my any kind of prestige I get in those ways. I'm not gonna conform code-wise to that look. If I'm comfortable with this and I'm that. Just like Allen Iverson did in the NBA. You know what I mean? Now you can't go. You gotta either John Morant gotta be out there for the jerseys to make money. You know what I'm saying? So Allen Iverson 2.0. You know what I mean? So it's now it's just not, now it's marketable.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I still just represent. Like, I took it serious when KRS-One told me that we are hip hop. You know what I mean? We don't listen to hip hop. We are hip hop. So if you're a PhD or doctor, you're a surgeon. You're a surgeon. That's still hip hop. You're a hip hop surgeon. Your orientation, your lens through which you see the world is rooted in something that came out of Cedric and Cedar in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So that's me too. I'm gonna always be that. So